Okay, we need to increase it. We're on track. We're not. This is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you, and that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country. To be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I'm super excited to be here because we're talking about we're talking about EU, we're talking about the Brexit, we're talking about all of those things because even though the Brexit kind of feels like old news or it happened such a long time ago, people still have to adjust to some of the changes that are being made with regard to Brexit and all of these other changes that are taking place as well, right? These post-Brexit immigration rules, the new safety standards that are there, these complications that basically exist when you're married to someone else who isn't a British citizen but is in fact a citizen in one of the EU countries. Now, these are in fact obvious questions or problems that that are there, right? So we're going to be talking about all of that, but before we head into that conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact be a part of the show. So feel free to actually text me or call me on 078-5247-3473 to share your thoughts, share your opinions, and actually to get in touch with me. All right, now you can also go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about all of these different things that we are talking about. Okay, and don't forget to download the app either, because our app is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It's super easy to download and it's super simple as well, because all you need to do is just head on over to the App Store or the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, type in Relaks Radio on that search bar, and you're pretty much going to get our app, right? It's super easy, so make sure to actually share your thoughts and share your opinions with us through that as well. Okay, and now let's actually talk about these failed rights of Britons for for foreign for foreign spouses from the EU. Basically what is going to happen to the foreign spouses of British citizens who are in EU, right? And we know that when it comes to people who are from European Union countries who are living in the United Kingdom, they've actually given a specific time to apply for resettlement schemes and whatnot, and even with regard to whether they're actually being allowed to stay or whatnot, these applications were taking such a long time to be processed. There was a huge backlog of applications and whatnot as well, so obviously we need to talk about that as well. Okay, so make sure to do that, because I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this. But right now, let's actually head into our conversation. Right now, ministers have in fact been accused of breaching their promise to secure the post-Brexit rights of thousands of British nationals who settled in the European Union and married foreigners. Okay, now campaigners at British in Europe have basically written to the Foreign Office Minister Wendy Morton and the Immigration Minister Kevin Foster, telling of the heartbreak and distress endured by British citizens who are in fact facing problems with the Home Office over their rights, their rights to return home to the United Kingdom. Okay, now before Brexit, all EU nationals, including the British, were in fact free to move from one member state to another with family members, regardless of where they were from, right? But obviously, after Brexit, UK citizens, non-British spouses, including Germans, French, and even Spanish nationals, actually need to apply for pre-settled status before 29th of March next year. All right. Now they're only eligible if they get a new EU family permit from the Home Office. Okay. The only way they can, travel and whatnot is if they get an EU family permit. And a lot of people have said that, what this is tearing families apart. It's making it very hard, especially say you have parents in the United Kingdom, or you have parents who are in other parts of the European Union and whatnot. It makes it very hard for you to travel them and even see them, and it causes a lot of mental distress, because the truth is, obviously, during the pandemic we haven't been able to meet our friends, we haven't been able to meet our family, right? Which means that a lot of people's families who are living in either Britain or in the EU, they haven't been able to go through it because of the pandemic, but also with regard to this post-Brexit immigration rules that are in place. All right. However, like I said, they're only eligible if they get a new EU family permit from the Home Office next year. And basically the British in Europe basically have said that it knows of multiple cases of spouses of British people who are living in the EU being refused family permits under the Surinder Singh route for non-British spouses or partners, or who are facing significant problems with their applications. All right. So basically, that is what's happening, and it's absolutely heartbreaking as well. Now, it actually told Morton that the examples were precisely the kind of situations we knew British citizens and their families would face following the loss of our EU rights, and why we asked for a grace period. Okay, so that is what the conversation seems to be about. Now, make sure to stay tuned, because we're actually going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to discuss this further. So obviously, until then, make sure to stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and it's in fact, getting very, very close to the final few minutes of this show. But don't worry, because I'm here to make sure that even though it is getting very close to the final few minutes, that I still keep you informed and updated about everything that is happening. All right. So make sure to share your thoughts and your opinions with me, because that will be absolutely amazing. Because all you need to do is just text me or call me on 07852473473. All right. So don't forget to share your thoughts and opinions with me, because I would love to hear everything that you have to say. But also, before we head back into our conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that if you want to, be updated about the very, very latest news, all you need to do is to go follow us on our socials, right? You can like us on Facebook, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that way you can actually make sure that you're always updated about everything, right? And don't forget to download our app either, because our app is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And if you want to be informed about all of this, well, then the best way for you to actually do that is by downloading our app as well. Okay, and now let's actually head into our conversation, because we were talking about how ministers have been accused of failing to secure rights for British for the spouses of British citizens who live in who live in the EU. All right, so it's important to keep that in mind as well. So before we actually head into that conversation, I want to very quickly talk to you about all of these different things that these citizens have been facing as well. All right, so now let's actually head into that conversation. Now basically, like I was talking Wendy Morton was actually told that the situation that these couples, these families were facing were in fact the exact same kind of situations that they knew that these citizens would face, right? And this is why they've specifically asked for a grace period, because they want to sort of make sure that they have time to figure things out and figure out what decisions to make, right? Because moving to a new country, or moving to the European Union, or to the to the United Kingdom is in fact not a decision that you can take overnight, right? Obviously it takes time, and you obviously have so many things to figure out. So it's not like these people can fill out these applications and have these forms processed as soon as they can, and it's very, very unfair on them as well, right? Because all of a sudden, just because we have decided to leave the leave the EU, we can't suddenly expect all of these people to give up pretty much everything that they did and get in line with all of the rules and whatnot, right? So obviously that takes a lot of time. Now, during the passage of immigration bill, your ministerial colleagues Kevin Foster and Baroness Trafford actually gave assurances to other MPs and peers that such families' futures were in fact safe, right? But obviously that is not the case. Now, they basically said, you don't have to fear, because we're going to make sure that your families are safe. We're going to make sure that your families are sort of going to be separated and whatnot. However, that is definitely not the case, right? The case is in fact very, very different from what it is, and that is obviously a big problem as well. Okay, now Elena Remigi, who happens to be the founder of the In Limbo project, which campaigns on behalf of EU citizens in the United Kingdom and UK citizens in the EU, have actually said in recent days that they've seen more and more of these cases, which are causing huge distress to families who before Brexit would not have had to think twice about going back to the UK, but now they're actually at the mercy of the Home Office, right? And the government actually repeatedly said the rights of British nationals would not be diminished by Brexit. If they truly care, they will review this urgently, right? And honestly, it just looks like the government doesn't care, right? Because if anything, the one thing we've seen is that Boris Johnson's government hasn't been the best government, right? They've been inefficient in so many different ways, and I'm not even going to start about that, because that's a whole other conversation. But you pretty much get the gist of what these people are asking for, right? Families are being torn apart, they're losing their families, and that's not something anyone wants to go through, right? Now make sure you stay tuned, because we're actually going to head into a small break, and after that we will be heading back into this conversation. But until then, make sure to stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's